Sorry to start the show off with this. Get your gag reflexes ready. Oh, oh.
Donald Trump keeps talking smack about Detroit and insulting our union auto workers. As president, he failed us horribly, losing 6 auto factories and 280,000 Michigan jobs. Today, Detroit is on the rise. Factories getting built, new housing going up, and middle-class jobs created. America would be so lucky to end up like us. Detroit represents everything that Donald Trump isn't. We're tough. We have each other's backs, and we will keep growing our city and making it a great place to live, work, and invest. A failed businessman who's repeatedly sold out American workers and only looks out for his billionaire buddies will never understand what is great about our city. He's not like us. Detroit versus everybody. Donald Trump keeps talking smack about Detroit. And
I've got to tell you, I never noticed how distinct the upper Michigan accent is. Yeah, it's like Minnesota almost, but it's like Fargo meets New York or something. He keeps talking smack about us. What drugs is this woman on that this is how she's talking to her electorate? There are so many things wrong with this that I don't know where to start.
Insulting our union auto workers. As president,
can you tell me who those union auto workers are endorsing or who they are not endorsing this time around? Maybe the union auto workers. No. They have refused to endorse Kamala Harris this year, right? I think that's like the first time in a long time, despite their president taking wild, stupid, lawless actions against Trump and Elon Musk, filing bogus complaints for union worker intimidation because Trump did that Twitter space with Elon where he talked about how Elon fired workers who illegally striked. Talking smacky. He's talking smack about us.
He failed us horribly, losing 6 auto factories, 280,000 Michigan jobs.
First of all, I can tell you one thing from experience. When you're uncomfortable doing what you're doing, you tend to talk a little like you're talking like sort of at the upper part of your throat and not your chest. You're not getting it out because you're uncomfortable, you're embarrassed. Maybe there's some people looking at her and saying, what is this crazy woman doing in an alleyway in Detroit, Michigan, late at night? Lady, what are you doing? Oh, people want to be like Michigan? Like, I don't want to say like nobody wants to be like Michigan. Michiganders and Detroit people are good. American people are good. Governments are bad by and large. And there are certain failed states and there are certain failed cities. California, San Francisco, Michigan, arguably, it's a very, very beautiful state. Detroit, there's nowhere in America where they are vying to be like current Detroit. Not that Detroit doesn't have an amazing history. I mean, after all, Eminem came from Detroit. He just sure as hell doesn't live there anymore. And John Legend came from Springfield, Ohio, and he sure as hell doesn't live there anymore. Detroit ranked second least safe city in the U.S. Which article was this from? Metro Times. Detroit landed near the bottom of the list due to high crime rates, unemployment, and more by Layla McMurdy. October 7, 2024. That's like, what, a week ago? 2 weeks ago? The other one, this is what I look at whenever I go anywhere to see if I'm going to stay in a hotel somewhere. I don't think it's like a legit neighborhoods scout. I've never seen the 99th safest city on this website. All that I see are bad ones. But according to this website, it's safer than 1% of American cities. It coincides with the other one. It's the second least safe city. So I guess what's number one? Chicago? Lady, you might not want to be in a dark alley in the streets of Detroit at night. I mean, maybe you've got your security, so it's good for you. And if it's good for you, well, it's got to be good for everybody else. Good evening, everybody. First things first, I should have made sure that we're live. Am I on the good mic? Let me make sure I'm on the good mic. I'm on the good mic. Should have made sure that we're live everywhere. Let me see here. Are we live on Rumble? Viva Frei on Rumble. Well, let me refresh the page here. I think I would have gotten a text message from any one of my wonderful people who make sure that I'm doing right and doing good here. Let me go to Viva Barnes Law. .locals.com. Rumble, are we live here? We should be live here as well. Yes, we are. Look at this, eh? Looking damn good. I see an all caps thing, and I want to see what this says. If anyone has not noticed, all the messed up cities have Democrats running them or governors. Care to debate this? That is from a special SOV. Yeah, I was fact checking Gavin Newsom when he says like, oh my God, all of the highest crime rates are in red states. And I'm like, hey, awesome, jackass. Now go do the cities and see whether or not those are red or blue cities. Every red state that is high in gun crime has a blue city, a blue run epicenter of where that is. I think it was like 8 of the top 10, 7 of the top 10. It was statistically demonstrably true. We're going to get into the fact check in a second, people. And we're going to see if we can actually live commentate this, not debate, this interview with Brett Baier. First things first, I was on Alex Jones for about an hour today, and it was fantastic, which is why I didn't go live at noon 30. Because I'm trying to respect the schedule, but I love going on InfoWars with Alex Jones. I was supposed to be on tonight with Luke Rudkowski, and I'm like, Luke, we can't do a podcast if there's going to be the Kamala Harris interview, and I'd watch it with you, but I don't want to be the jackass that talks over the entire debate. I'll do that on my channel. And so I had to postpone last minute with Luke Rudkowski, and I feel bad. Luke, I love you, and we're going to do it again, obviously. And everybody should check out Luke Rudkowski. If you don't know We Are Change, you obviously know who Luke is, because Luke has been in the game since I was a little baby. But before we get into anything tonight, people, before we get into anything, talking about government screwing up cities, and you can't trust government as far as you can throw them, let's talk radiation, people. 60% of U.S. adults have had their data hacked or exposed. That means if your data hasn't been hacked yet, you might be the lucky winner of the worst raffle ever. Our phones, laptops are like those shady friends who share your secrets with everyone. They're basically homing beacons for big tech and government tracking. Trusting them with your data is like trusting a politician. You might as well believe in unicorns. That's why 5G Free's Faraday laptop and phone holders are here. These aren't just cases. They're like throwing your devices in a digital black hole. EMF radiation blocked, GPS and tracking gone. Your data stays yours and your privacy stays off the grid where it belongs. Let's be real. The same folks who pushed PRISM now want you to trust them with our data. We're not buying it, and neither should you. Head over to 5gfree.com. Use promo code VIVA, 15% off. Say goodbye to digital creepers and keep your data locked down tighter than your ex's Netflix password. By the way, you should do it. I mean, the Faraday cases, they're good for a number of reasons. And 5G Free is a Rumble partner. They're amazing. And you got to build that parallel economy and support the people who support free speech and support. I totally just lost my train of thought hearing what's going on. Support free speech and value you as a customer. And they're a Rumble partner. Number 2 Rumble partner, sponsor of the night, is Be Naked, people. I have jokes that I will not get into, but I'm going to get into them when we talk about Be Naked. It's a supplement. These days, it seems like society wants to turn men into soft, tofu-eating cuddle machines. Testosterone levels are tanking, and the world's pushing this weak, hand-holding agenda. But if you're the guy who would rather wrestle a bear than sip a soy latte, you need naked organs. I was biking, actually. I went for the most miserably painful bike ride today to try to stretch out my knee. It didn't go very well, but I saw a gator, and I saw a hawk, and then I hobbled back and cried myself into that stuff that I sprayed on my leg. But bottom line, soy, no good. There's a look to it. This isn't Be Naked. It's a supplement. It's not some lab-made potion made from participation trophies. It's 100% bison organs, liver, kidneys, heart, the kind of stuff that your granddads put hair on your granddad's chest, packed with B12, iron, zinc. It's your antidote to low T and all the nonsense out there. Keep your testosterone high, your masculinity unapologetic. I don't know if I think I'm unapologetically masculine, but I don't know if I'm actually masculine. Head over to BeNaked.com. Use promo code VIVA. 15% off. Let's make being a man great again. Hold on a second. Speaking of dogs, get on here. Oh, go. Get out. Don't come back. Oh, my gosh. Oh, out. Oh, jeez Louise. Okay, people. Let's get this out of here. See what's going on now. I want to live stream the interview. But look, I'm an idiot. I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it. It's not going to be live. I have War Room in the back because I was told War Room might be airing the Kamala Harris interview with Brett Baier on Fox News. Everybody in the chat, if you have a link, I'm going to just try to find this in real time. Let me see who this is. Take it. Okay. Cut your hair if you're worried about masculinity, says Jimmy Bend Oregon. Nah, you know what the thing is? I'm convinced that that's how masculine I am. I don't care if people call me a girl. I've been doing, since I've injured my knee, I've been doing muscle building or upper body stuff, and it's good. Like you want to build muscle and be tone and whatever, but I don't want to build muscle that I have to carry around with me and maintain. It's like having muscle is high maintenance. All right, let me go to locals and see if anybody has found where this interview will look. Viva, you are the Drogo of Florida. Well, now I got to go look up what that is. Okay, so I'm just going to go here. I'm going to go to YouTube. And if we don't get it live, I think we'll be able to at least get it once Fox News puts it on. Kamala Harris interview. It's funny, the first thing that comes up in my search is Kamala Harris, Willie Brown. If we don't find it, what we'll do is we'll talk about the stuff that I have on the menu anyhow, and then we'll come back and get the clips when they put them out on the interwebs. Kamala Harris interview, Brett Baier. How do you spell that? Like that? Wow, this is going to suck if I don't find it. All my plans, the best laid plans of mice and men. Let me go over here in locals and see if anybody's found it. And if we don't have it, we'll have to come back to it afterwards. Let me go into Rumble chat and see what's going on. How are we enjoying War Room today? That's the War Room. Let me refresh this and see if they're airing the interview. Okay, I'm watching. So I'm not finding it there. Let me go here and see. Viva, check Brett Baier, says Penny LKO. That's logical. We won't do this for much longer. If I can't find it right away, it's gonna suck. Brett Baier, special report. It's funny. I uninterrupted, unedited. Brett Baier gives the interview, but that's just a 1-minute clip. Oh, maybe here. Hold on, fingers crossed. Well, I'm seeing a dot. Hold on. Okay,
now,
let's just see.
More than ever, Kamala
this,
has raised over $500 million from liberal billionaires. $500 million.
It's so obscene.
Money is all she has. But with your support today, we'll take away the one thing she's banking on. So if you can,
this is live
please
now.
chip in any amount.
Chip in
your
any amount.
support right now will lead us to victory.
This is what you call advertising amplification. Okay.
Bill Pascal, he's Bill Jr.'s here. Where are you, Bill? There you are.
So we might not be able to get the interview.
I used to kid his dad all the time. I said,
I'm Irish. I'm not stupid.
Delaware may be second smallest state in the union, but we own the Delaware River up to the high water mark in New Jersey. There was actually a Supreme Court case about that. Anyway, but he represented New Jersey, and his son represents House Representative. Bill did it for 27 years. He passed away this summer. He was the grandson of Italian immigrants, a giant in the community, and a devoted patriot to the nation. We got good blood, kid, my dad would say.
We got good blood, kid. That's ironic because they criticized Trump for being obsessed with genes. All right. So I don't think we're getting it. That sucks. Luke, mi scusi. Boopsy over at our local says, I love you, Don Jr. I hate you, Joe Biden. Or it doesn't even say Biden. Okay, so that's it. So I guess we're not going to be able to do it live. We're going to have to wait for the interview to be over. Then they're going to upload the clip, and then we'll do it then. All right, until then, people, let me just double check one thing here. Like this, like such. Fuck Joseph Biden's administration, says Sean Keane. Streamfair.com. Let's see what that is. Last attempt, streamfair.com. And that is not at all what I was looking for. Okay, that seems to be something totally unrelated. Darn it. I'll get the call. Okay, I got to keep my phone on here. All right, people, sorry about that. So we're not going to be able to do it live. We're going to have to do it on replay, and hopefully they'll upload it. It's on Bannon's War Room? Hold on. Let me refresh this here. I see, what's her name? Okay, I'm on Bannon's War Room Evening Edition Live. Is that not it? Oh, Bannon's War Room. Bannon War Room. Bannon's War Room on Rumble. Good, it comes up. We got this. War Room Live. Okay. All right. Come on. Come on now. Says it's starting in a minute 20. Well, that's because it's from a long time ago. Okay, featured, War Room Live, 80 million views. That's not it. Okay, so now I'm seeing it starts in a minute. Okay, so if this is it, but I'm not just going to... Okay, so let's put that on mute, and we'll see if they're playing the interview, we're going to watch the interview through here, but I'm not just going to... The Quartering's watching it, being aired by Real Gospel Chaps. Holy crab apples. Real Gospel Chops, maybe that's it. Okay, so they're live. Oh, here we go. Let's see how this is going to work. I'm getting the commercial. Okay. This might be it.
Science, a bipartisan bill. Former President Clinton actually referred to Laken Riley Sunday,
Inception.
campaigning for you in Georgia, saying if
Anyone,
those men had been
are we
properly
good with
vetted,
this?
Laken Riley probably would not have been killed. So if it wouldn't have happened, this is well before any negotiation. This is well before Donald Trump got involved in the politics. This is a specific policy decision by your administration to release these men into the country. So what I'm saying to you, do you owe
Brett,
those
I think it's
families
really, I think,
an apology?
let me just say, first of all, those are tragic cases. There's no question about that. There's no question about that. And I can't imagine the pain that the families
you can
of
really
those
relate.
victims have experienced for a loss that should not have occurred.
Go on.
So
But
that is
it's Trump.
true.
It's Trump's fault.
It is also true that if a border security had actually been passed 9 months ago, it would be 9 months that we would have had more border agents at the border, more support
When
for
did
the
that
folks
guy
who are
get? When did
working
that guy get
around the
across?
clock, trying to hold it all together
Madam Vice President.
to ensure that no future harm would
Oh my
occur.
goodness.
And this election in 20 days will determine whether we have a president of the United States who actually cares
happened
more
under your
about
watch.
fixing a
That guy
problem,
had been here
even if
for
it is
a
not to
fair
their
bit of time.
political advantage in an election, because there was a solution, Brett.
Madam
After
Vice
3.5
President, it was
years
a
of
policy decision in the early part of your administration. I will
Good.
let one of the mothers talk about it. Take a listen.
Because of the Biden-Harris administration open border policies catch and release, they were enrolled in the Alternatives to Detention program. This meant that they were released into the United States. It was not even a full 3 weeks later that they would take my daughter,
after they came
Jocelyn,
into
Underay's
office.
life.
And
I
now they
believe
want to
the
pretend that
Biden-Harris
it's Trump's
administration
fault for
open
not
border
having implemented
policies
that
are
border bill.
responsible for the death of my daughter.
That's the early days. So do you owe them an apology is what
I
I'm
will
saying.
tell you
No,
that
look at
I
her
am so
shaking her-
sorry for her loss.
She's shaking her head. No, I don't know.
I'm so sorry for her
I'm
loss.
so sorry.
Sincerely.
Oh, I thought you meant insincerely.
But let's talk about
Let's talk about Trump.
what is happening right now with an individual who does not want to participate
She's
in
going
solutions.
down in a
Let's
way that
talk
she's
about
not used
that
to.
as well.
But do you
Brett,
want to answer
in all
her?
fairness, I told you, I feel awful for what she and her family have experienced.
No, that's
During that time, you said repeatedly that the border was secure. When in your mind did it start becoming a crisis?
I think we've had a broken immigration system transcending, by the way, Donald Trump's
Quadrupled.
administration even before.
Quadrupled.
Let's all be honest about that. I have no pride in saying that
I
this
have
is
no
a perfect
pride.
immigration
Clip
system.
it.
I've been clear, I think we all are, that it needs to be fixed. We need more. I was just down at the border talking with border agents, and they will tell you, and I'm sure you probably, I know you investigate and you
I have
are
no
a
pride.
serious journalist. They will tell you, we need more judges. We need to process those cases faster. We need the support for those cases that should be prosecuted. They need more resources, and Congress ultimately is the only place that that's going to get fixed.
You
Brett.
repealed
That's
executive.
how the system
That's
works.
the premise of this
That's-
question.
but
There were
that's how the
90
system
plus
works.
executive
There you
orders
go.
that were rescinded in the first days.
Rescinded.
Many of
Quadrupled.
those were Trump border policies. I'm not going to stay here because there's
Because
other
you
things to talk about, but you frequently talk to the Border Patrol Union for support of that bipartisan bill, and they did. They supported it. But they also just endorsed Donald Trump and said, you've been, quote, a failure with border security. Why do you think they said that?
I think they're frustrated, and I get it. They
I
want
get it.
support. They want support, and that's what.
And so
that
they're going to
border
endorse the
security
guy that
bill
you
would
say
have
killed
done.
the bill.
These
Okay.
guys down at the border, these men and women, they're working hard. They're working around the clock. I get it.
There's a lot of people that look back at
She
what
gets
you
it,
said
guys.
in
Don't worry
2019
about
when
it.
you first ran for president. And there have been changes, and you've talked about some of them. When it comes to immigration, you supported allowing immigrants in the country illegally to apply for driver's license, to qualify for free tuition at universities, to be enrolled in free health care. Do you still support those things?
Listen, that was 5 years ago, and I'm very clear that I will follow the law. I have made that statement over and over again, and as Vice President of the United States, that's exactly what I've done, not to mention before.
If that's the case, you chose a running mate, Tim Walz, governor of Minnesota, who signed those very things into state law. So do you support that?
We are very clear, and I am very clear,
very
as
clear.
is Tim Walz,
Tim Walz.
that we must support and enforce federal law, and that is exactly what we will do.
Can you
So
answer the question?
decriminalizing border crossings, like you said in 2019.
I do not believe in decriminalizing border crossings, and I've not done that as Vice President.
not
I will
gonna do
not do
Rogan
that as
after this.
President.
So these are
I- and-
evolutions that
but-
you've had.
No, but let's be very clear.
Let's be clear.
I'm the only person who's running for president who has prosecuted
Prosecute.
transnational criminal organizations,
You gotta
from the
listen to
Sinaloa
Harmeet Dillon.
cartel to the Guadalajara cartel to people who have trafficked in guns, drugs, and human beings. I have spent a significant part of my career going after people who present a threat to the safety of the American people
Her legal career is
and
actually
cross
quite
our border
sparse
with the
for those
intent
who are
of doing
interested.
us harm and cross our border illegally. And I will do that work as Vice President. I take that work quite seriously.
This is a time when voters, especially here in Pennsylvania, are inundated with commercials and ads. They just want it to stop because it's every commercial. But many of them add noise, but a few of them seem to break through. This particular one from the Trump campaign has gotten a lot of attention.
Kamala supports
Hey, give me 1 second,
taxpayer-funded
guys.
sex changes.
I'm gonna go over to Rumble because I feel a little guilty co-streaming this guy's stream, and I think we have it right here. So let's do this.
Of doing us harm and cross our border illegally. And I will do that work as Vice President. I take that work quite
Okay,
seriously.
good.
This is a time when voters, especially here in Pennsylvania, are
Audience a little
inundated
lower.
with commercials and ads. They just want it to stop.
We're good, guys.
Because
This
it's
is good.
every commercial, but many of them add noise, but a few of them seem to break through. This particular one
Thank
from
you,
the
Real
Trump
Valkyrie.
campaign has gotten a lot of attention.
Kamala supports taxpayer-funded sex changes for prisoners.
Yes.
surgery
Yeah.
for
yeah.
prisoners. For prisoners,
Yeah. Taxpayer
every
funded.
transgender inmate in the prison system would have access.
What the
So
hell, Kamala?
Are you still in support of using taxpayer dollars to help prison inmates or detained illegal aliens to transition to another gender?
I will follow the law. And
Oh my
it's a law that
gosh,
Donald Trump actually
she's
follows.
done.
You're probably familiar with, now it's a public report, that under Donald Trump's administration, these
Deflection.
surgeries were available on a medical necessity basis to people in the federal prison system.
She's done.
And I think,
She's
frankly, that ad from the Trump campaign is a little bit of like throwing, stones when you're living in a glass house.
The Trump aides say that he never advocated for that prison policy and no gender transition
Well,
surgeries
you know what? You got to
happened
take
during
responsibility for what
his
happened in your
presidency.
administration.
You got to
Yeah,
take
no
responsibility for what
surgeries
happens in
happened
your
in his
administration.
presidency. It's
Lakin
irrelevant.
Riley,
Would you still
awful.
advocate for
Can someone
using
clip
taxpayer
that part?
dollars for gender reassignment?
You got to
I
take
will follow the
responsibility for
law,
what
just
happened in
as
your
I
administration.
You have a
think
say.
Donald Trump would say he
I'm
did.
Donald Trump, and
You
I
would have a
endorse
say
this
as
message.
president.
Like I said, I think he spent $20 million on those ads, trying to create a sense of fear in the voters because he actually has no plan in this election that is about focusing on the needs of the American people. Whereas at $20 million on that ad, on an issue that, as it relates to the biggest issues that affect the American people, it's really quite remote. And again, his policy was no different. Look at where we are, though.
They say
On
it was
plans for
different,
the
but
American
we'll move
people,
on.
I'm offering a plan to deal with affordable housing. I'm offering a plan to deal with what we need to do to
Small
strengthen
business
small
loans.
businesses, which are the backbone of America's economy. I am offering a plan that is about taking care of young parents and giving them the support they need. My plans for the economy will strengthen the economy, as have been reviewed by 16 Nobel laureates, Goldman Sachs, Moody's, and recently the Wall Street Journal, which have all studied our plans and have indicated my plans for our economy would strengthen our economy, his would make them weaker,
Why do you
would
think more
ignite
people say-
inflation and invite a recession by the middle of next year. Those are the facts.
Why do you think more people say they trust him on the economy than they trust you?
I think that when you look at an analysis of our plans for what we would do as President of the United States, it has been clear to those who study and understand how economic policy works that moving forward, because I do believe the American people are ready to turn the page on the divisiveness and the type of rhetoric that has come out of Donald Trump. People are ready to chart a new way forward. They want a president who has a plan for the future and a plan that is sound and will strengthen our country. My plan for the economy does exactly that. His plan would be again to give tax cuts to billionaires and the biggest corporations in our country and blow up our deficit.
It's interesting you said turn the page, Madam Vice President. You were asked on 2 different shows last week what, if anything, you would do differently than President Biden. Here's what you said.
Would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
I'm Donald Trump.
There
and
is
I
not a
approve
thing
this
that comes
message.
to mind in terms of, and I've been a part of most of the decisions that have had impact.
Under a Harris administration, what would the major changes be and what would stay the same?
Sure. Well, I mean, I'm obviously not Joe Biden.
I know.
And so that would be one change in terms of, but also I think it's important to say with, 28 days to go, I'm not Donald Trump.
So you're not Joe Biden. You're not Donald
this
Trump,
is not going well
but
for
nothing
Kamala.
comes to mind that you would do differently?
Let me be very clear.
Be clear.
My presidency will not be a continuation of Joe Biden's presidency. And like every new president that comes in to office, I will bring my life experiences, my professional experiences, and fresh and new ideas. I represent a new generation of leadership. I, for example, am someone who has not spent the majority
She's
of my
coming
career
off
in
a little
Washington, D.C. I
bitchy.
invite ideas, whether it be from the Republicans who are supporting me, who were just on stage with me minutes ago, and the business sector, and others who can contribute to the decisions that I make about, for example, my plan for increasing the supply of housing in America and bringing down the cost of housing, addressing the issue of small businesses, which is about working with the private sector to bring more capital and access to capital to our small business leaders, including my plan for a $25,000 down payment assistance for first-time home buyers and for small businesses, extending
we've heard
the tax
this many,
deduction
many
from
times.
$5,000 to $50,000.
We've heard a lot about those plans in recent days. Your campaign slogan is a new way forward, and it's time to turn the page. You've been vice president for 3.5 years. So what are you turning the page from?
Well, first of all, turning the page from the last decade in which we've been burdened with the kind of rhetoric coming from Donald Trump that has been designed and implemented to divide our country and have Americans literally point fingers at each other. Rhetoric and an approach to leadership that suggests that the strength of a leader is based on who you beat down instead of what we all know. The strength of leadership is based on who you lift up. The strength of an American
Just verbal
president,
diarrhea.
which is one who understands that the vast majority of us have more in common than what separates us.
Madam
That
Vice
is
President, more than
turning the page.
70% of people.
That is about
Okay,
turning the
I'm giving
page
Brett
on
Baer some
rhetoric
credit
that
here. This is
people are
good.
frankly exhausted of, Brett.
More than
People are
70% of people
exhausted.
tell the country is on the wrong track. They say the country is on the wrong track. If it's on the wrong track, that track follows 3.5 years of you being vice president and President Biden being president. That is what they're saying, 79% of them. Why are they saying that? If you're turning the page, you've been in office for 3.5 years.
And Donald Trump has been running for office.
But you've been the person holding the office.
Come on.
Madam
You
Vice
and I
President.
both know what I'm talking about. You and I both know what I'm talking about.
I actually don't. What are you talking about?
What I'm talking about is that over the last decade,
But you're
People
the
have
lever of
become,
power.
but listen, over the last decade, it is clear to me, and certainly the Republicans who are on stage with me, the former chief of staff to the president, Donald Trump, former defense secretaries, national security advisor, and his vice president. One, that he is unfit to serve, that he is unstable, that he is dangerous, and that people are exhausted with someone who professes to be a leader who spends full time demeaning and engaging in personal grievances and it being about him
Madam
instead
Vice
of
President,
the American people.
if
People
that's the
are
case,
tired of that.
If that's the case, why is half the country supporting him? Why is he beating you in a lot of swing states? Why, if he's as bad as you say, that half of this country is now supporting this person who could be the 47th president of the United States? Why is that happening?
This is an election for president of the United States. It's not supposed to be easy.
I know, but
It's not supposed to be. It is not supposed to be a
so
cakewalk
are they misguided,
for
the
anyone.
50%?
Listen,
Are they stupid? What is
God,
it?
I would never say that about the American people. And in fact, if you listen to Donald Trump, if you watch any of his rallies, he's the one who tends to demean and belittle and diminish the American people. He's the one who talks about an enemy within, an enemy within, talking about the American people, suggesting he would turn the American military on the American people.
We asked that question to the former president today. Harris Faulkner had a town hall, and this is how he responded.
I heard about that. They were saying I was like threatening. I'm not threatening anybody. They're the ones doing the threatening. They do phony investigations. I've been investigated more than Alphonse Capone. He was the greatest gangster. No, it's true. No, but think of it. It's called weaponization of government. It's a terrible thing.
So,
Brett, I'm sorry, and with all due respect, that clip was not what he has been saying about the enemy within that he has repeated when he's speaking about the American people. That's not what you just showed.
He was asked
No,
about that
no,
specific.
no, that's not what you just showed. In all
She's
fairness,
going
and
down.
respect to
That was the
you,
question that we asked him.
he didn't show that, and here's the bottom line. He has repeated it many times, and you and I both know that. And you and I both know that he has talked about turning the American military on the American people. He has talked about going after people who are engaged in peaceful protest. He has talked about locking people up because they disagree with him. This is a democracy. And in a democracy,
Oh gosh, get passionate,
the
Kamala.
president of the United States, in the United States of America, should be willing to be able to handle criticism without saying he'd lock people up for doing it.
You're trying to lock him up now.
This is what is at stake, which is why you have someone like the former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff saying what Mark Milley has said about Donald Trump being a threat to the United States of America.
He's quoted in the Bob Woodward book that way, yes. Let me ask you this, Madam Vice President. You call Donald Trump.
The significance
you
of that.
call Donald Trump. He's misguided. You say now
He's
he
unstable.
Is unstable.
He is unstable, Brett.
He's not well. You say he's mentally not stable.
He's not stable.
Let me ask you this. You told
we
many
should all be
interviewers
concerned.
that Joe Biden was on his game, that ran around circles on his staff. When did you first notice that President Biden's mental faculties appeared diminished?
Joe Biden, I have watched from the Oval Office to the Situation Room, and he has the judgment and the experience to do exactly what he has done in making very important decisions on behalf of the American people.
There were no concerns raised?
Brett, Joe Biden is not on the ballot.
I understand.
And Donald Trump
But you
is,
talked about it.
And Donald Trump
After George Clooney said within a few minutes of talking to President Biden at a fundraiser that he thought this was not the same Joe Biden that we saw on the debate stage.
Donald Trump is on the ballot.
I understand. You met with him at least once a week for 3.5 years. You didn't have any concerns?
I think the American people have a concern about Donald Trump, which is why the people who know him best, including
Did she just flip a question about Biden on Trump?
Community, have all spoken out. Even people who worked for him in the Oval Office, worked with him in the Situation Room, and have said he is unfit and dangerous and should never be president of the United States again, including his former vice president, which is why the job was open for him to choose another running mate. So that is a fact. That is a fact.
Madam Vice President, two more things. You were asked on 60 Minutes about the biggest threat that the world faces, that the U.S. faces. This is what you said.
Which foreign country do you consider to be our greatest adversary?
I think there's an obvious one in mind, which is Iran. Iran has American blood on their hands, okay? This attack on Israel, 200 ballistic missiles. What we need to do to ensure that Iran never achieves the ability to be a nuclear power, that is one of my highest priorities.
A number of experts thought you would say China. The FBI director had said that. But you said Iran. If that's the case, what do you say to critics who look at the actions of your administration and say you're not acting like Iran is the number one threat?
Well, I will tell you most recently, whether it was in April or in October, and then several hours on each occasion, that Iran posed a threat to Israel. I was there. Most recently in the Situation Room, in the most recent attack, working with the heads of our military and doing what America must always do to defend and to support Israel in its requirement to defend itself, and to give American support to be able to allow Israel to have the resources to defend itself against attack, including from Iran and Iran's terrorist proxies in the region.
Right.
And that
But those
is,
proxies were getting
and
funded
my
by Iran.
commitment to that is unyielding and unwavering.
Critics just said that
Unyielding,
you either
unwavering.
relaxed or failed to
Say the words.
enforce sanctions on Iran, allowing all of this money to flow into Iran, like billions
Let's
in
go back to
oil
Donald
profits.
Trump.
Let's go back to Donald
pulled
Trump.
out of- who
That's all they
pulled out
got.
of a deal that would have actually
back
put
to Donald Trump.
Iran in check.
The estimates
and
in
then
billions
it was during Donald Trump's
that go
administration
towards
that
the
Iran
regime.
that we had an American military base that was attacked, where American soldiers suffered traumatic brain injuries, and Donald Trump dismissed them as headaches, not to mention
Madam
how
Vice
Donald
President,
Trump has
all of this money
has treated
that
and
has
talked
gone
about
into the
America's
past few years.
military and military
this is the
service
end.
people,
Critics
calling
say
them
that it goes to
suckers and
Hezbollah,
losers.
Oh, that's a lie.
Has diminished
and
the
Houthis. We're
significance.
talking over each other. I
Well,
apologize.
I
you're not-
wish I would like that we would have a conversation that is grounded in full assessment of the facts, which includes, I think this interview is supposed to be about the choices that your viewers should be presented about this election, and the contrast is important.
Yes, ma'am.
And on the subject of Iran,
biatch.
I am offering what should be an important contrast that is presented for folks to make a
And there
decision
are
that
critics
they
who
feel.
look at what the administration did and say and think differently. Madam Vice President, they're wrapping me very hard here. I hope you got to say what you wanted to say about Donald Trump. There are a lot of things
There's more to say. I have
there,
much more
there
to
are
say,
a lot of
actually.
things
Let's hear
that
it.
people
Let's hear
want
it.
to learn about you and your policies, and
Yes.
that's why we
I
invited
invite
you
everyone to go to kamalaharris.com, and you will see that I have 80 pages
they're
of
really gonna
policies
go
that
look
are
that up.
quite comprehensive and should be accessible to anyone who would like to read them. And it includes what I intend to do about affordable housing, what I intend to do about small businesses, what I do
And that's why
intend
we
to do to
invited you
strengthen our
here,
economy,
to see where you were in 2019 and
to
where you are
support
now.
America's military and ensure we have the most lethal and best fighting force in the world.
Madam Vice President,
And
they're giving me a hard rap
Well,
here.
I thank you for the time.
I thank you for the time.
It's good to meet you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, that was a bloody disaster.
Okay, let's bring in our panel. Martha McCallum, anchor and executive editor of The Story with Martha McCallum. Dana Perino, co-anchor of America's Newsroom, co-host of The Five, and Harold Ford Jr., former Tennessee congressman, co-host of The Five. Dana, I'm going to start with you.
Disaster.
What's your takeaway?
One, I think it is great that she did the interview with Fox, and I think that it was amazing that you were the interviewer. I think that that was an incredible 30 minutes, well spent by both of you. Now, I would say I thought some of her answers were a little bit thin, and I had to ask myself, where's the joy? There's no joy here.
Ooh, I just tweeted that out.
She came in kind of hot, and she got angrier. But at times, especially when she was trying to go after Donald Trump. She was fairly effective in that to try to get her point of view across. However, I would say on immigration that her answers were pretty thin. And there was one thing that she said, I think this was about the transgender surgery issue. She said, "You are responsible for what happens in your administration." And I imagine that the Trump folks over there said, "Oh, okay, let me just take that clip and put it right in an ad," because the questions about why
the immigration,
79% of the country think we are on the wrong track when you've been in office. Her answer saying that Trump's been on our radar for 8 years
now
and was president for 4 years, 4 years ago.
She's saying here, but
I didn't think that landed very well, but I thought the interview was super good. And I would add this. I don't think that friendly interviews did her any service.
Yep.
Tougher interviews make her think more on her feet, and then she has to present herself as the possible commander-in-chief so that people can make this choice that they have coming up in 19 days.
Fairly decent analysis.
Yeah, Martha, I've been through a lot of these big interviews. Normally, you can kind of get in on the breath. You can ask another question. Sometimes, there's
they
an
give her a
effort
hard
to
rap, all right.
filibuster, and there's an effort to create a moment. And I think that was their goal coming in. I tried to redirect numerous times without interrupting too much, but at some point, you kind of have to redirect to get back in the game.
Absolutely. And Brett, I thought you did a masterful job.
Masterful.
This
I don't think
is
we need
the
to watch
kind
this.
of
Do we want to watch
interview
this, people?
that we should see a lot of on the
I'm
campaign
going to locals
trail.
and only locals.
We have
Locals.
seen
Do
Trump,
we want to
comes to
continue
mind
watching
the
this
Bloomberg
analysis?
interview yesterday where he was
Kay
getting
came across
pushback.
as angry,
She has not exposed
inarticulate, and
herself
condescending.
to this
Says
kind of
apothecary
moment.
dame.
And there were numerous occasions where she appeared.
You know what? We'll stop this because I don't need to hear what these people think. I'm going to tell you what I think. Holy hell. That was a disaster. First of all, guys, I didn't realize you could hear the phone when I was only playing it from here. Oh, what's that?
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
Oh, what's that? Viva Frei just posted that? Hold on.
You got to take responsibility for what happened in your administration.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
Yeah, I didn't realize you could hear that. So I thought I was being lectured like when my dad lectured me. David, put your phone down when you're at the table. Pay attention to us. We got who wants to hear the rest on the analysis on Fox News? Loud and clear. Okay, well, that explains a few things. Finboy Slick, to think that you missed a cool evening with Luke for this. If we were not watching this, I think people would have gotten angry. But okay, let's go back here and see what they have to say at Fox
To be
News.
scrambling a bit, and that her answers were thin. I thought you really asked the questions that a lot of Americans want answers to, which is, how did you let all these millions of people come into the country, and do you have any regrets about it? And
Donald Trump
her answers were
terrible,
not good on that, and about the economy. When you asked her what would be different under a Harris administration as opposed to a Biden administration, the things that she brought up was that she would listen to Republicans and she would listen to the.
We don't need to listen to this. That was an abject disaster. She ain't joyful no more. It's like she looked angry. And not aggressive, like with righteous indignation. She looked like she looked unhappy, miserable, spiteful, scornful. And did I say angry already? You've got to take responsible for your administration. Thank you. But this is the thing where when you lack introspection and you don't actually think about the words that are coming out of your mouth before they come out of your mouth. She had just spent the better part of the first half of that interview, or at least the first portion of that interview, when Bret Baier was grilling her on illegal immigrants killing Americans. Does she owe them an apology? Well, no, because that problem... But Trump is the one who refused to solve that problem. I just wish someone, maybe Bret Baier, could have pushed back and asked her the obvious question. Madam Vice President, who was integral in all of the policies and laws that were put into effect under the Biden administration, was that bill drafted to be rejected so that you could then use it as a campaign tool? Obviously. And he killed the bipartisan border bill, allegedly. It was a bullshit border bill, period. But he killed the bipartisan border bill in, what year was it? 2024? 3.5 years into your disastrous immigration policy, which saw a 4-fold increase in illegals crossing, which saw, by the way, we're going to get to it, a spike in violent crime, not a decrease in violent crime. So she's so lacking introspection. She doesn't put the two together. Oh, no, that's not my fault, what happened under my administration. But you got to take responsibility for your administration with the verbal diarrhea. You got to take responsible for your administration. And you know, she's just a puppet. I want to field this one here. She's just a puppet. She has no idea what she is doing. I agree with you. And it's like, you call me a sissy Canadian or a faux virtue signaling, sympathetic type. I look at people and I feel bad for people who do not feel bad for themselves. I look at Justin Trudeau, I hate him with every fiber of my body. I hate him down to my DNA, which cannot be changed. I hate him. And I know it's not a good thing to hate people because you have to keep hatred in check and you shouldn't feel hatred. But I hate him. I loathe him. I hear his voice. I want to vomit. I feel anger when I hear him lie and gaslight the Canadian people and the world. And now look at this. As I'm saying how much I hate them, I forgot. No, I know where I was going with this, but I feel bad for him. First of all, people make fun of his eyebrows, and if anybody has ever heard it, go look at the jokes about his eyebrows. I genuinely believe that man must have regular anxiety attacks. I think he actually sits there pulling out his eyebrows. It's called trichotillomania. It's a manifestation of obsessive compulsive disorder enhanced by stress. I believe that he's missing his eyebrows because he pulls them out because of the stress and anxiety of the misery that he knows he has caused. Eats him alive inside, I think. And maybe he doesn't. Maybe he's just a pure sociopath, remorseless with no conscience. I feel bad for Justin Trudeau in as much as I still hate him. I saw this clip of Kamala Harris, and it was like one of the, not the first times, but one of the most poignant times where I genuinely just felt bad for this sad, pitiful excuse for a human being. She looks tired. She looks haggard. She is, I don't care. I don't think she's an evil genius. She's an idiot. Like she's a dumb, unintelligent, unskilled human being, period. She is that. And she's gotten through life by, playing her assets, pun intended. But I saw this like, oh my goodness, I feel bad for this awful human.
Recent questions about Donald Trump. Once again, there's been a lot of recent questions.
The stress of the situation is eating her alive. She looks haggard, exhausted, and I don't know how she couldn't be. I don't know how Trump isn't. The dude is out there 24/7. I don't know how Trump looks younger now than he did 8 years ago. I think it's because he has the side of righteousness on him. You look at her, she looks eviscerated, emaciated, excoriated is not the right word. She looks haggard from running for president. Give her 4 years of actually killing people abroad. And look what it did to Obama. But listen to this.
Based on an event he did recently. Recent questions about Donald Trump. Once again, there's been a lot of recent questions based on an event he did recently. He played music for about 30 minutes straight.
My grandmother used to hold it and say, oh, David, like, what is this? What is this? Her neck is sore. Okay, he did an event, 30 minutes on stage. Listen to this.
Questions about his mental fitness for office at this point. Do you think Donald Trump needs to take a cognitive test?
Well, I'm going to say what I said publicly and said many times based on my observations of many. Donald Trump is increasingly unstable.
Donald Trump is increasingly unstable. Joy! Compare, cut and contrast her various speeches. And you want to say that thing in the back? You want to talk like that? And you get Donald Trump elected. Oh, I'm here. Thank you for coming here to share your views with me. Increasingly unstable? Holy hell. It's not that we should all look that unstable at his age. We should all only be that stable. You effing, I'm going to not swear. A man, he got shot in the head. July, August, September, 3 months ago. Within a millimeter of death. And this coward of a scoundrel is going to say that he looks unstable. Holy hell, there are few people on earth more stable than Donald Trump. Let me see what else she has to say.
And as has been said by people who have worked closely with him.
I think we heard this tonight, eh? Milley, General Milley, the lying, treasonous, seditious piece of rubbish.
He was president. He's unfit to be president of the United States.
Unfit to be president of the United States. Because when he was president, it was World War III, invasion of Ukraine, terrorism. Oh, I'm sorry. No, it wasn't. It was peace abroad and prosperity at home. And under your administration, and you got to take responsible for your administration, it's the verge of World War III, increased crime at home. But look at her pathetic, sad face. Like, she knows she has no business being in this position. You got to go listen to Harmeet Dillon on Tucker Carlson. I don't know if it's available to the public or you have to be a member of the Tucker Carlson network, which I am. You go listen to this. Her stellar legal career of prosecuting transnational gangs. I won't say I have more experience, but as it's going to be that as a joke. It's not what you think it is. What did Harmeet say? Should have like 8, 9 cases in a few years? Not very much by anyone's standards, let alone priding yourself on it for the rest of your life. And it's an amazing thing, like Harmeet Dillon, she put it in a very interesting way. It's like the stories that she's told of how she prosecuted transnational gangs, yada, yada. It's become part of her own lore in her own head. Can you imagine? Oh, he's not unfit to be president. Mother effer, you're unfit to be vice president. Oh, sorry. The amazing thing, not that anybody wants to see my boo-boo on my foot. Like now my shin bone has started retaining fluid below the knee. It's very, very weird. Let me see what's going on in the chat here. $30 from Biltong, who's in the house. Biltong is one of the most protein-dense foods in the world, packed with B12, zinc, iron, creatine, and more. Need a healthy snack? Get yours today at BiltongUSA.com. Viva 10 for 10% off. Game is available. Biltong, it's good to see you here. What does it say? Real Tad Dad. Real Tad Dad. Viva, as a Canadian, you should give us a warning before airing this. Watching this might make people take Trudeau's truth in jest. There's we got I'm not your buddy guy says I have the exact same text notification as well. Haha, I'm Donald Trump and I approve this message. It's amazing. She can't help herself. Thank you very much for the campaign slogan, Kamala. Let me see how the other one is doing. The other one that I had was where she's not looking very joyful anymore. She ain't joyful no more, I'll tell you what. Well, that was amazing. And she's going to go on Rogan. By the way, appreciate the answers. Trump. Do you owe the family of murdered Americans as a result of illegals who should never have been here, who were not properly vetted under your administration? Do you owe them an apology? Well, Trump didn't vote in that bipartisan border bill, which was actually a Ukrainian aid package in disguise, so it's his fault. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. It's Trump's fault. It's Trump's fault that people were murdered because of unvetted illegal immigrants that were let in over the open border over the last 3.5 years at record levels, quadruple, fourfold what they were before they rescinded the 94 executive orders that kept the border secure, and then blame it on Trump for not approving or telling telling others to approve an 11th hour disguised foreign aid package to Ukraine. Go to hell, Kamala. Let me see something here. Have I not had... we're going to get to some more stuff here, by the way. So the answer to the border crisis, it's Trump's fault. The Green Skull says she's yelling and screaming irrational, hysterical, cervical insanity, and she's lost the argument. She's not fit for office. That is from the Green Skull. I think there was another one here. Jers Duns says the Harmeet Tucker interview is on YouTube. Booyah, go watch it. And then Jordan said a second time, the Harmeet interview is on YouTube. I hope you didn't mean to give that super chat twice, by the way. Then we got David Winnen says, Viva Frei is the most famous Canadian on the planet. Viva rocks. No, I'm not at all. I'm not even close. Stephen Crowder's Canadian. Jordan Peterson's Canadian. You may not like it, but Jim Carrey is Canadian. Austin Powers guy. What's his name? Don't tell me. A, B, C. What's his name? It's not Phil Hartman. Geez, Louise, the Austin Powers guy. What's his name? He's Canadian as well. Ted Cruz, I think, is Canadian. What's the guy's name? Austin Powers, International Man of Mystery. Charlotte Patterson says, I wish more Americans were as irate as you. Mike Myers, thank you very much. Okay, so hold on. So the immigration, Trump's fault. What were the other ones he asked? Jeez. The transgender thing. Oh, that was a Trump policy as well. Nobody did it under Trump, and you came out giving an interview to a trans person saying that you were so proud of yourself, Kamala. You were so proud during that interview. Yes, of course I will, because trans people have the right to live with dignity, even if it means going into a woman's prison. This trans madness is going to come to an end very quickly. Like Trump said in one of the interviews today, I think it was the town hall. Men do not belong in women's sports. You want to dress up like a woman. You want to go and do surgery as an adult to cut off your ding dong and make a neo vagina that will never be a neo vagina, that you're going to have to dilate for the rest of your life. You're going to have to go in and clean it out and make sure that the hairs don't get clogged in, because it's still going to grow hair. What they make your neo vagina out of, it's not going to lube up naturally. It's never going to be a vagina. And it'll never look like a vagina. You want to do that to yourself as an adult? Godspeed. God bless. You go do it. Taxpayers don't foot that bill. And you better make sure that you know exactly what you're doing, because when you wake up and you look down at where your penis used to be, and you see, as I'm quoting the interview that I did with Tulip R. Ritchie, and you look down at what now looks like a doctor went at your groin with a hatchet, you better make sure you know that that's what you want to do for yourself for the rest of your life and all that entails. And if you want to, and you're of sound mind, God bless, and more power to you. You want to do that to children? That makes you a promoter of child genital mutilation, period. You think that you getting to think like, I want to look like a woman, go ahead. That allows men, and I'm not even saying biological men anymore at this point, men to compete in women's sports. End of story. You think that that's going to allow men to enter women's prisons facility where there has been sexual assault and impregnation in women's facilities? You can go straight to hell if you want to promote that. Whatever you want on your own time, it's up to you, and it's between you and you in 10 years if you still accept that decision. You want to put men in women's prisons, you can go straight to hell. So, yeah, she ain't so happy about that answer anymore now, as you know. Oh, I will abide by the law. Well, that's not what you said during that interview. During that interview, you were talking about taking taxpayer dollars to allow illegal immigrants who are detainees to cut their junk off. You know what others might say that looks like, Kamala? And I would have asked this question. It looks like you support cruel and unusual treatment to illegal detainees who are in vulnerable positions. That's what it looks like to me. Holy hell. Real Valkyrie says, sorry about all caps earlier. I did not want it to shout. Just had them on accidentally. Don't worry about it. I don't read that as shouting. I have an aunt who always types in caps. She happens to be like close to, I won't say close to 90. She's an old, mentally a sharp woman. And she writes all in caps only because it makes it easier to see. So I actually do not even have that reflex of reading all cap tweets or all cap messages as shouting. So don't worry about it whatsoever. I thought this said fistful of farts, and it's fistful of ferrets, which is now even weirder. Respectfully, I've always hated the Serenity Prayer until I saw a meme. Now I change the things I cannot accept, and it's a much better fit. Okay, well, that's actually not terrible. But some things are as unchangeable as gravity. I guess you could build rocket boosters if you want to defy gravity. That's actually not bad. I'm going to have to go ahead and screen grab that right now. Denise Antu in the house from our locals community. She will get annihilated on Rogan. She can't keep it together for 30 minutes. Brett Baer. Rogan will push back a whole lot more and will make her answer. I don't think she'll do it. And if she does, her campaign will die. So I was on with Alex Jones. I'll get to this in a second. What we just watched was 30 minutes. I know, 30 minutes of edit. And by the way, did you notice, Finboy? He's like, I'm getting pressed to end this interview. Yeah, her handlers are behind her like, this is over. This exhibit is closed. Pull it down, out, pack up and leave. They were wanting to end that interview. I'm fairly certain, I might be wrong. It was her camp that Brett Baer was indicating is giving him the hard out, Or what was he saying? The hard cut. Sorry. We just watched 30 minutes. I don't think anyone, even Rogan, can handle 3 hours of this. The powers that be agreed to it so Rogan would just lose it, kick her into orbit, and rid and solve their problem. Oh, no. What I've noticed it, like, Rogan's interviews always go over 2 hours, and I always would say, like, if I ever get on Rogan and the interview only lasted an hour and 50 minutes or less, I would conclude that Rogan hated me and that the interview was terrible, because I've noticed the only interviews that are sub 2 hours on Rogan either end early for I don't know, force majeure, or they're not going well, and Joe Rogan is not having a good time, and he's not going to sit there any longer. I think Bill Maher was one of the interviews where I'm like, holy shit, I'm listening to the interview, I was like, this isn't going well. You could tell Rogan's not enjoying it and Bill Maher's not enjoying it. And lo and behold, I think it was like an hour and 40 minutes. And he's like, I got to go. He created some excuse about having to go do some stand-up. So I was on Alex Jones today, and he was talking about the fact that he's got on good intel, Trump is going to be on Rogan, and he's got on good intel that Kamala, details in the works, is supposed to be on Rogan. So stay tuned for that. I'm not even divulging anything. Jones said this live on air, so I feel empowered to share what will be absolutely amazing. Wodu759 says, you're not going to see her till after Election Day from the crash we just saw now. It's an amazing thing. Like, what the hell was she thinking? I think I can go do an interview on the most adversarial platform, not even an interview, like a discussion, and not be as unhinged, hysterical as her. And I will call her hysterical. I don't care that she's a woman and people. That's not a gender. That's not a sex-based accusation. I know. Hold on. There is a history to the term hysterical etymology. Did you all know this? The word hysterical comes from the Greek word hysterikos, which means suffering in the womb. Let me bring this up. I'm still using it. FTW, people. The word hysterical is suffering in the womb. The word hysteria is derived from the Greek word hystera, which means uterus or womb. The word hysteria was used to describe an uncontrollable outburst of emotion or fear, often characterized by irrationality, laughter, or weeping. In ancient Greece, this is from the AI version, it was believed that when a woman was being irrational, it was because her uterus was wandering around her body, causing trouble. In medical history, hysteria was widely diagnosed in place of other diseases. Women were often diagnosed with hysteria when they showed unladylike behavior or emotion like anxiety or anger. I can tell you one thing from life experience. If a woman is acting irrational, or in your estimation, a person who happens to be a woman is acting irrationally, you can't ask them if they're having their period. Apparently that's a big fat no-no. So Brad Bear's like, Madam Vice President, may I ask you a personal question? You seem very angry right now. No, I can't even do it. But no, she was hysterical and angry. And I'm trying to think if when they said, have you ever seen Donald Trump smile? It was like the talking point of the day a while back. I've seen Donald Trump laugh, smile, make jokes a whole hell of a lot more than I've seen Tampon Tim, AWOLs, No Balls, Walls, and cackling Kamala make jokes and laugh. I mean, I've seen Kamala laugh, but her cackle is not a sincere, genuine laugh. It's like a nervous tick. But hold on, it had to do with a joke. I forget what it was now. Oh, they say, have you ever seen Trump laugh? I've never seen Trump angry. Like I swear to you. Let me walk that back right away. I've seen Trump angry once, right after they tried to shoot his head, and he was angry. And even then, it wasn't hysterical, uncontrolled rage. It was defiant fight. What we saw tonight from Kamala was unhinged, insecure rage. And she sucks. I mean, pun intended. She's awful. She's an awful candidate. She's the worst candidate they've ever run in the political history, as far as I know. Walter Mondale apparently was worse. I don't know. But the silver lining, she is going to be the unifying vice president because she's unifying Democrats around Donald Trump. She's unifying the world around the failed policy of her administration. She's unifying Canadians, for the love of all things that are holy. More Canadians than ever now are supportive of a Trump presidency. Let me just make sure I didn't get that wrong. I saw this somewhere today. More Canadians support Trump. Yeah, here we go. I saw it on CTV News. Propaganda. And why do I rely on them when they say something that I like? It's not because I like it. It's because it's counter to their interests. Canadian support for Donald Trump higher than in last U.S. presidential election. Survey says more Canadians are signaling their support for U.S. former President Donald Trump. The majority remains hopeful for a Democrat win. Yeah. A recently released survey by Toronto's Institute asked who they would prefer to win. It found that an overwhelming 60% preferred Kamala Harris compared to 21% for... Can you imagine this? Canadians just need to distract themselves from their own misery under Trudeau. However, Trump's popularity has increased 6 percentage points from 2020. 6 percentage points from 2020. That's like a 50% increase. If I'm not wrong on this, right? Let's just say 6 percentage points from from 15. So that's like 30% increase. That's like 35% increase. Oh my goodness. Yeah, but they still want Kamala because, they haven't learned their lesson with Trudeau. That's what blows my mind. 60% of Canadians want the American equivalent of two-faced scumbag Justin Trudeau because they've learned so much since 2015. I learned a lot since 2015. What I've learned since 2015, it's the old Greek philosophy. If you don't take an interest in politics, it does not mean that politics is not going to take an interest in you. And the other one, if you don't get involved in politics, you end up being governed by your inferiors. Hold on, let me stretch out my leg. Oh my good gosh. Oh yeah. Oh, it's also filled with fluid. Okay. I saw a chat come. Do I look crazy? I feel like I look crazy. Seems to be a few Dems in the chat. Let's see. Hold on. I'll bring them on. Let me see this. There seems to be a few Dems in the chat, the kind that will always put love of party and their woke God over love of country. Let me go see who the Dems are in the chat over here. Okay, sorry, I'm not going to bring up. Can't even read those comments. Here's one from the Green Skull. 50 pages on the website of Trump is Hitler. Well, I'm not copying Bongino. I'm learning from Bongino, or at least I'm going to credit Bongino because he's right that campaigns are. I forgot now. I know it's sound bites and screen grabs. What does he say? Can you hear my dog making some very weird noises? He says, what's the thing he says? Sound bites and it starts with an S. Snapshots and sound bites. No one is going to read her 50 pages of rot. All that they're going to do is rely on the D. Dales of the world to lie and summarize it and say, this is what it said. $5,000. We're going to... Do you hear this thing? She's not dying. Are you dying? You want to say hi to the world? Pudge. I'm talking to you. Come here. Come on. Get over here. Come here. Come on. Proof of life. Let's do it. She's not doing it. She'll get here in a second. Oh. Yeah, here. You want to say something? No one's going to read it. You're going to rely on liars to inaccurately summarize it. $25,000 for small business owners because $5,000 is not enough. Or no, it's and then they're going to $25,000 down payment on your home deposit because just to get your foot in the door. She's going to create an opportunity economy. Did you guys hear this? Something's up with that dog. We got Chris Woe in the house. Here, have some Midol. I got a leave, but I don't like taking any medication. Now, where's my damn martini? I got a leave, and I have some doctors in our community. One of our doctors. There are two doctors. Let me bring this down here. 2 doctors in our vivabarneslaw.locals.com community performed a medical miracle at our Chattanooga meetup, and I have stayed in close contact with both of them. And I pick one of their brains every now and again, who told me that you can have don't overdo it on the Aleve because it's not good for your kidneys, yada yada. So thank you for that. The only thing that would have made this more fun would have been if Tampon Tim would have joined her. By the way, Mike Myers, hold on. Oh. Get out. Oh. I set up a segue. Oh, I forgot about it. Yeah, no one's going to read the 50 pages. What they're going to get, sound bites and snapshots. Let's actually do this just for the sake of it here. Okay, we got this here. Sound bites and snapshots. Let's do this. Take this one out. Bring this up. Kamala Harris with Brett Baer. Let's do snapshots. They're just snapshots. Right here, body language. Turtled up, look at her shoulders, look at her hands, defensive position. Okay, fine. I'm going to read too much into it. Let's go here. Brett Baer, there you go. Let's see it. Let's see if there you go. Ooh, okay, that's presidential. Insecure. Nope. That's not what you want on the... Oh, no, definitely not. Oh, no. You got... where was the part where she got mad at him? Let's see that. I want to see her face there. No, she's got that. Oh, look at her. She's got the Donald Trump condescending face again.
From sinking a hole in one.
We're all the way back here. Okay. Anyhow, snapshots and sound bites, and there are none that are good that are going to come out of that. Although the great one, you got to take responsible for your administration. Mm-hmm. Okay, so the 50 pages, no one's going to go read it. They're going to rely on liars to fact check it. I'm going easy on Daniel Dale because he might not be a bad person. Dan Dale is a fact checker. I mean, I think he works for CNN. If Donald Trump didn't exist, Daniel Dale would be out of work. This is Daniel Dale, CNN senior reporter of the fact check beat. Kind of looks like that guy from Malcolm in the Middle. Okay, it doesn't matter. D. Dale 8. Now, I've given him a hard time, but I'm going to be mildly polite with him because I'm not sure if he's evil or just dumb. Okay, now I'm being an asshole. All right, so can we play this clip here? There's a fact check. So D. Dale is fact checking what Trump said during the Bloomberg thing today, where Trump performs well, even in adversarial press. And he says, John Deere says Trump's story about how he successfully used a tariff threat to get John Deere to reverse a plan to shift some production to Mexico is fictional. And then you go into his fact check and it says why. Now, the funny thing is this, I'm not a lazy person and I do this for a living. So I'm like, all right, one day I'm just going to grow a pair of cojones and I'm going to just tweet out before I do the research. This is coming from Daniel Dale, and therefore I know it's not true. So I was going to do that, but I didn't. I was like, okay, well, first of all, what happened? Let me just do one thing out. Oh, that is exactly the opposite of what I wanted to do. I wanted to bring up, I didn't want to close it. I wanted to open it. So let me just go here. Fact check false is what I did on his fact check. Here, right here. I'm just going to go into my accounts. It's easier to do this. Viva Frei, here, fact check. I fact check your fact check, and your fact check is freaking factually incorrect. Here, so his article, which I'm going to bring here. I think we can do it like this. So what happened today? Okay, we have to go to CNN. Know thine enemy. And it says, fact check, John Deere says Trump's story. Fact check, John Deere says Trump's story about how he saved U.S. jobs with tariffs is fictional. You can't fact check what someone else, it's not fact check John Deere says, it's fact check Trump's story is fictional. Not they say it's fictional. Right now, you can't, as a fact check, rely on a statement from somebody. Oh, I'm going to destroy this dog. Oh, God, stop it. Get in, get in. Get in. Holy cow. Oh, we'll go through the story quickly. Should be courteous on the dog. She might have insisted on leaving the office to go poop in the kitchen. When former President Donald Trump was challenged at a Tuesday event about the potential economic harms of his proposed across-the-border tariffs on imported goods, Trump told what sounded like a tariff success story. He said that in response to his threat to impose hefty tariffs on John Deere, if the storied farm equipment maker went ahead with its plan to move some production to U.S. to Mexico, the company announced that it was likely abandoning the plan. Okay, Trump said, are you ready? John Deere, great company. They announced about a year ago that they're going to build plants outside the United States, right? They're going to build them in Mexico. I said, if John Deere builds those plants, they're not selling anything into the United States. They just announced yesterday they're probably not going to build the plants. Okay, I kept the jobs here. All right. Let's back it up. Is it going to bring us to... So John Deere. Now we're back there. Okay. That's the fact check. Now we're going to back it up again. Or we're not, because it doesn't seem to be going back. Can we back this up here, yo? And it takes 2 seconds. It takes 2 seconds. This was one article from the Washington Times, and you just notice the date, September 23rd, 2024. Trump threatens to slap 200% tariff on John Deere goods if it moves some production to Mexico. I got the links in there in a second. 3 days later, September 26th, from Gretchen Teske in the Gazette. I don't know where this is from. John Deere, we're not moving production to Mexico. Company responds to former President Donald Trump's tariff threat. And in that article, I'm not trying to mislead or hide anything. This is just to illustrate that D-Dale's fact check is wrong, because it's an argument, not a fact check, but that's all these fact checks are. Spin, lies, wordsmiths of the devil, and argument. In an email Wednesday, a spokesperson for the company, that being John Deere, stated less than 5% of Deere's U.S. sales are manufactured in Mexico, and more than 75% of all sales in the United States are from U.S.-based manufacturing facilities. Very good. Quote, we've had a presence in Mexico since 1952. It is not unusual for Deere to consider any number of factors when it comes to leveraging our global footprint as a global business, leveraging our global footprint. I love this freaking fluff business talk. While building new products in U.S. factories like Spray, Des Moines, whatever. Okay, fine. The statement reads, layoffs this fiscal year were due to the weakening farm economy in 2024 and a reduction in customer orders for our equipment. The spokesperson went on to say that Deere is not, quote, moving production to Mexico, as continues to be reported. Instead, we've strategically leveraged our footprint in Mexico for cab production. All right. What do you have there? Like, you have to, when you're fact checking, you also have to know what you're fact checking. They're fact checking what Trump is touting as causality, in his own view, in his own opinion, of two definitive facts. One fact is that Trump threatened a tariff if he ever becomes president and John Deere moves production to Mexico, which they were contemplating because they're leveraging it for whatever. And the next fact is that they shortly thereafter announced that they're not. Their explanation is, we announced that we're not because we weren't, we never were, and it was just a rumor or whatever. We've leveraged our footprint, and it's normal for us to think about it, but we didn't do it for other reasons. The causality is a matter of opinion and interpretation. And what they do is they fact check and say, oh, no, Trump said this and they said that they're not doing it for that reason. Therefore, fact check false. Fact check, get a new job, D-Dale. I fact checked your fact check for 5 seconds. And it turns out that your fact check is actually just an argument over causality as opposed to an admission of the matters of fact. One fact is that Trump threatened a tariff increase if they did it. And the other fact is that they later announced they're not moving production of substantially stuff to Mexico. But yeah, go rely on D-Dale to summarize the 50 pages of Kamala's manifesto of politics and see where you get with that. Oh, Lordy. Let me go down to the bottom here. Joe Dunnigan Jr. says, Viva, she filibustered the whole time. All she did was bash Trump. I have heard no substance from her. That is a 1,000% accurate assessment. But Trump, it was literally, but Trump. Oh. Les Paul Jr. says, Viva, show her speech in Pennsylvania earlier today, warning you if you have high blood pressure. Oh, I didn't see that. I mean, I'm not sure if I've seen the clip, so I'd have to go back and look for that. And now let's go over to vivabarneslaw.locals.com. Midol will help you get your Z's. That's from Chris Woe. Did I miss everything else here? Mike Myers, Finboy Slick. What we just watched was 30 minutes. I don't think anyone, even Rogan, can handle 3 hours. Fistful of Ferrets, we got that. Biltong, we got that. And got everything here. Okay, good. Let's go over to vivabarneslaw.locals.com and see what's going on there. I believe I've gotten to all the tipped questions. Crash 105 says, isn't it funny that Dems say Trump hates women due to the 30-year-old quote that, quote, it's like they would just let you grab them by the pussy when talking about groupies in Hollywood, and then the woman who is running against was a Hollywood groupie. They have systematically misrepresented what he said in that Access Hollywood tape as well, but there's no point having the discussion with anybody who listens to that and hears it as an admission of Donald Trump admitting to crimes. What Donald Trump was saying is what everybody knows is the case of that moral degenerate cesspool of a satanic pedophile adulterer industry, Hollywood. They do let you do it. I mean, what do you think Harvey Weinstein was sitting there thinking? Maybe they don't let you do it. Maybe you extort them into it, but it happens. What do you think Kamala Harris did to further her career? She had sex with a man. They might have been in love. Who knows? He was married, but not married. So, whatever. He's just a 30-year-old, or 30 years older than her political career superior. They have sexual intercourse over an extended period of time in a relationship that is so awkward that Kamala gets asked if she's his daughter at events. Everyone knows what's going on. And he furthers her career. He births her career. And he takes credit for it. He takes credit for it to this day. You'll see MSM saying Kamala Harris, who's, Willie Brown is largely credited for having launched Kamala Harris's career. Yes, she's proving exactly what Trump was saying. The women in the industry will let them do it because power, fame, fortune, and promoting your career. And it happens with the men sometimes as well. You want to hear some horror stories. Let's go into all discussion, not just these Fox people make me sick, says Boopsy. Well, Brett Baer did a good job tonight. Neurodivergent said one more rant coming in. Let's see this here. V Mooney says Kamala did it the old-fashioned. She did it her way. I did it my way. The quartering said deploy word salad. Hawk Dude 83. It wasn't word salads tonight. It was just pure systematic obstruction deflection. When your answer to the question of your own failings is but Trump, you're deflecting in a deposition, an examination, an interrogation, a discovery. That it doesn't go very far. In front of a judge, it doesn't go very far. And we're right now in front of millions of judges, that being the American voters. What do we get? What else? Well, you saw the vlog from earlier today, and I would just want Chris Rufo's freaking amazing. But yeah, Chris Rufo, I'm fairly certain broke the Claudine Gay Harvard president plagiarism scandal. I believe he broke the Kamala Harris plagiarism scandal. It's like someone who has slept their way to success has not succeeded on what's inside their head, but rather have succeeded on head. And you get used to being lazy, you get used to being sloppy, and you ultimately think everyone around you is as dumb as you are. Oh yeah, I'll just cut and paste. No one will find out. I mean, it's not like even back then, the back when she did it, I guess the technology was much more limited than it is today in terms of detecting plagiarism. Maybe you didn't think you have to source things. But like when you are a brainless idiot who has succeeded not on the intellect, but on the physicality, you sort of get used to thinking everybody around you is equally stupid. No one will find this out. I've had this deep thought for a little while. Like, what makes a kid is what makes an adult an asshole. So like a kid. What makes a kid is being incapable of getting beyond their own not view of the world, but getting beyond the fact that they are not the only person on earth. Like when they're hungry, they want to eat. When they need to go to the bathroom, and is the idea that there are others who you need to consider at any given moment doesn't exist. And you have to teach a kid that they're not the only person around. They have to think of others. And what makes an adult an asshole is thinking that they're the only person on earth whose needs matter. What makes a kid is thinking adults are as stupid as kids. Like, oh, I didn't eat the chocolate cookie. I see it on your freaking face. Oh, how did that get there? I don't remember. You don't remember what happened to half an hour? Like, just to assume that people are stupid is what, or kids basically, I'll get away with it. Who can possibly find out what I did? That's what makes an adult a jerk, an idiot, an irresponsible menace to society. And so you got to train it out of kids through good habits, good work ethic, and sensitizing them to ethical behavior. When you succeed by sleeping through your career, you don't get the training, you don't get the ethical conduct, you don't get the self-respect that people need in order to feel confident in positions of adversarial interviews, like with Brett Baer. You have basically a failing up. You have an idiocracy of government, which is what we are living through right now. And if you don't sleep your way through to success, you lie your way through to success, much like Tampon Tim, no wall balls, AWOL walls. I mean, Tim couldn't, well, he might have slept his way. I'm not going to perpetuate that rumor. Haven't seen that account post on Twitter, despite allegedly being suspended for 3 days, as if Twitter's ever specified the length of a suspension on Twitter without any evidence of the actual suspension. But Tampon Tim is not going to sleep his way to success, so he has to lie his way to success. Oh yeah, I was a great coach, assistant coach. Oh yeah, I was in combat, never was in combat. What was the other one that he lied about? But just, he can't sleep his way through his career, so he lies and embellishes his way through his career, thinking that no one's ever going to find out. Oh, I'm just passionate. I can be a knucklehead. You're a effing liar, is what you are. You are a child that never grew up, and you thought you could get away with it, and you think that everybody around you is an idiot. Outdoor Noble says, breaking news, Brett Baer calls it for Arizona minutes after interview with Kamala Harris. Harris unable to comment, but could be heard asking migrants, do not come. That's some funny stuff right there. So that's it. What else do we have here? Christopher Rufo, Tommy Lauren. Why did I have this one? I had this in the backdrop for some reason. Oh, I had this because I was, this was for my vlog earlier today. Tommy Lauren had a good one on Kamala Harris. I think we've done it. We've done good. I don't want to talk about this, actually. I had Jack Poso puts up, how does he do it in respect of a Truth Social post from Donald Trump? I got Donald Trump. People are going to look at this and say it's unhinged. If you look at this and say it's unhinged, you're a 2D level smooth brain, blue check mark, MSM legacy media Democrat talking head. That's what you are. As to her completely desperate request for my medical statements, she is dying to see my cholesterol, which is 180. I don't know if that's good. I have already provided them many times, including quite recently, and they were flawless. However, I have just seen Kamala's report, and it's not good. According to her doctor's report, I love how it's just randomly capital doctor's report, she suffers from urticaria, defined as a rash of round red welts on the skin that itch intensely, sometimes with dangerous swelling. If there's anybody out there who's not thinking herpes or genital warts right now, okay, more power to you. You have a cleaner mind than I do. In fact, in the chat, you'll let me know. I'm immediately thinking genital warts, and I'm thinking it's like the visual. Let me just read this again. A rash of round red welts on the skin. I'm immediately thinking groin or face that itch intensely, sometimes with dangerous swelling. Urticaria, is that an STD? First of all, I got to know if this is true. Not that, so it's a legit post. Trump posted this. But is it real that her medical records showed urticaria? Kamala Harris. Oh yeah. Oh my good godness. I'm sorry. It's real. What is urticaria? Medical reports reveal VP Kamala Harris is prone to this condition. People. Medical experts who reviewed doctor's reports say there are no red flags. No, there's just red, itchy welts on the skin. Okay, she's excellent health, yada, yada, yada. There's two things where I'm going to go with this. It's either an STD or it's aggravated by alcohol. But the one thing I want to see is this. So she has it, urticaria, STD. They're not contagious and they do not spread from person to person. However, some sexually transmitted infections can cause rashes that can be mistaken for hives, including syphilis and HIV. So hives, it's urticaria. Hives. Okay, that's not a big deal. She also has allergic rhinitis and allergic conjunctivitis, a very messy and dangerous situation. These are deeply serious conditions that seriously impact her functioning. Maybe that is why she can't answer even the simplest of questions asked by 60 Minutes and others. What is this all about? I don't have these problems. I mean, it's so visceral the way he describes it. And even not an STD, apparently from the internet, to go to like WebMD, not an STD, but my goodness, the way he describes it, it will leave you with a visual soundbite and a visual snapshot that you don't want of Kamala Harris's body. 3D, 4D, it is Grandmaster Troll. That's what Donald Trump is in the best of ways. Oh, Lordy. That is some funny ass stuff there. Okay. Trump is laughing. LOL. There's no question about that. That's from Honor234. Alcohol can aggravate rashes. I've had hives. They are allergic responses, not an STD. Crackling noise. No, I know people who get cold hives. go into cold water and they get hives. I mean, I don't know how they're Canadian, but I know it. But it is very funny. It's innocuous hives. The way he describes it in that, hey, they're going to fact check him. Donald Trump made it sound like he knows exactly what he's doing. And it's hilarious. Oh, let me see this here. Chuck Haney says, if she has an allergic conjunctivitis, it likely comes from that and not an STD, says Ray Bano. I'm not trying to spread a rumor that she has an STD. Just saying it would be quite funny. Not if she had an STD, but the way he's describing it to make it sound like that is quite funny. And Madman over on CommieTube says, you got that right, Vive. We don't want that snapshot. Oh, man. That was fun. Okay, I think we did good. So tomorrow's Thursday. Yeah, I think I'm trying to get James O'Keefe to come back on. So maybe we can get that done tomorrow. We're going to be live tomorrow. I might be a little late tomorrow because I, too, am heading to the doctor. Nothing serious. I'm just a neurotic hypochondriac, and I want to make sure I'm not dying. So that's it. So we'll be live. It'll be like 12:30, 1 o'clock, give or take, close. Not going to be too late, and it's going to be a great show. I'm going to DM James and see if he's coming on because I want him to come on now and talk about that wild documentary, Line in the Sand. Yesterday, we had on the Border Patrol agent, whistleblower, Zach Apotheker. I was trying to not mispronounce the last name. It was phenomenal. And so we're going to be live tomorrow. And then Friday, there was something that I was doing Friday. We're live Friday. I just don't remember what's happening. I am not reading some of those chats. Let me go over here and see. Breaking news. Okay, I got that joke. Let's go down to CommieTube and see if there's any super chats. By the way, everybody, I'm always notoriously bad at reminding everybody. If you want some merch, and I'm trying to get together a new one that says be a force multiplier. You want to get some merch? You want to get your fight merch? You can get a bunch of great merch, vivafrei.com. And if you want to join our wonderfully beautiful above average community where we're going to go now for the after party, vivabarneslaw.locals.com. Let me make sure that we're not missing anything. Fry TV says, hey, Viva, you did good on Alex Jones today. Thank you very much. I always get nervous. I never know how long I should talk for. Sometimes I feel like I could talk for 30 minutes straight. We're on an hour and 30 straight. I don't want to talk too much. I don't want to leave dead airspace. I want to make sure I'm concise. I don't want to have brain fart knucklehead moments like freaking Tampon Tim. And I don't think I do because I hear the words in my head as I'm saying them and I hear them afterwards. And most importantly, I hear them before they come out of my mouth and I weigh my words. So that's that. Thank you very much, by the way. And it was a great. I think it was a great show today because I feel emboldened and empowered when talking with Alex to entertain some of. I don't like putting bad juju out in the universe. And there's the old expression, David Mamet, every fear hides a wish. And there are some things that I fear, and there's absolutely no wish behind it. It's just a fear. That the more interviews Kamala Harris does like this, the more patently unwinnable it becomes. And don't get cocky. Vote early and make sure you get people to vote and make sure that this is a freaking landslide. Beyond beat the cheat. A definitive trajectory changing landslide. Like a landslide, it won't happen. California, may California go Trump. Like a defeat a la Walter Mondale being defeated by Reagan. Nobody can say that this is not what the people want anymore. A popular vote win. That's what it needs to be. So make it happen. But the more she talks and the more she campaigns, it's like, can you imagine pushing Democrats to vote? Do not vote often, people. That is, you do it, they'll arrest you, put you in jail for the rest of your life. They do it. It's my first day. That was good. Okay, let me give everybody the link to vivabarneslaw.locals.com. And we're on Rumble Studio. So it's going to be for supporters only this time around. Locals, bada bing. Fry TV says, yes, this is one of his best shows, and he let you talk. Yeah, I like it. Also, Alex flatters me, and I'm not susceptible to flattery. I want to be insightful. I don't want to be repetitive. I don't want to be useless. You want to be value added on this universe. And if I don't have an original thought, and if I don't have insight, then what good am I? And so when he flatters me and compliments me, it just makes me feel like maybe I actually have some meaningful insight that people find value added on this earth. So I'm sharing the link there. I'm sharing the link here, locals. And I wanted to do one thing because I'm using Studio. Let me see here. Let's see here. Okay, so I won't be doing that. I know we're doing to Give Send Go. Okay, absolutely. I would do this. I would do this for free because I love Give Send Go, and they're a fantastic company. This is what Rumble Advertiser Center facilitates and allows creators to do. You can see campaigns on the side. You want to run them. You can pick the campaign you want to run, and you can do the campaign read, an ad read in real time. The payment varies depending on how many people you have watching and what their cost per view is. And this is a company that I love. Jacob Wells is the CEO, and I tell nobody should use Go F Me. They should use Give Send Go. Oh, and I'm going to actually one announcement before we go. But I'm going to do the ad read right now because I have to. In today's world, standing up for what you believe in can come with challenges. That's why many have turned to Give Send Go, the fundraising platform that stands for freedoms and backs those who won't back down. From high-profile figures like Jordan Peterson to courageous individuals like Kyle Rittenhouse, Give Send Go has become the fundraising platform. What makes Give Send Go different? It's not just about money. It's about community and hope. Unlike other fundraising sites, Give Send Go offers personal support through their unique hope team. Every campaign organizer gets a call offering a prayer and encouragement from a team that truly cares. Plus, when they with the pray button, anyone can offer a message of hope to those in need, making this more than just a fundraising platform. It's a movement. Whether you're raising funds for personal needs or rallying people to a cause that matters, Give Send Go gives you the freedom and support you deserve. With over 20 categories, currencies in more than 80 countries, and more funds going directly to you. So if you want a platform that believes in you and your mission, give it a go. Give Send Go. Give Send Go. And it's amazing. Now I'm done with the ad read. I'm still going to sell it. Give Send Go also doesn't charge. I mean, it's an amazing thing. The quantum that they ask for to support the platform is up to you. And you can give a lot or you can give zero, as opposed to Go F Me, which has a certain amount, and they rake it in. The irony, and I asked Jacob Wells this when we did the interview, it was a while back now, people give more when it's optional than they do on average when it's a fixed amount that Go F Me imposes on every campaign. So they've got the system down. They're amazing. And they're the only crowdfunding that people should be using. Which brings me to the other point. Alison Morrow, you may know her, announced today that she is suing her former employer, which is called, I remember the acronym, it's funny, DNR, Department of Natural Resources, or as I like to say, do not resuscitate. She's suing them for firing her for exercising her First Amendment rights by reporting on what she thought was important. Now, I want to bring this up because when she messaged it to me, and it's a short video, here, it's a short video, and I said, my goodness, thank goodness you're using...
If you'd like to support the silent majority...
Yeah, so check...
Some of you know me as a beginner, amateur, small farmer. Many more of you know me as a former TV reporter. But after 13 years as a broadcast journalist, I joined the Washington State Department of Natural Resources as a communications specialist. And I focused on producing videos about wildfire and forest health. I am now suing the Washington State Department of Natural Resources along with several other executives there, one of whom is Commissioner of Public Lands Hillary Franz. When I was hired at DNR, my bosses were fully aware that I engaged in independent journalism work on my social media platforms, and they encouraged me to continue doing so. However, in 2021, amid rampant censorship around COVID, my bosses told me that I had to stop interviewing doctors and scientists whose expert knowledge differed from the agency's COVID policies. As a longtime journalist who aims to seek truth wherever it leads, I refused to comply. I explained that my work was done.
I'll pause it there so we don't have to watch the whole thing. I've given everyone the Give Send Go. If you want to support her in this journey, it's going to cost money, and it's an unwanted stress. But Alison Morrow, if you don't follow her, check out her work. Her husband, Lynn Westover, has been on a couple of, he was my sniper expert. He trains people on counterintelligence, counter security stuff. He was the expert that I talked to after the failed assassination attempt on Trump, and he's a wealth of information. And they're amazing people, amazing family, and they deserve success and wealth and happiness in life. So go check her out. She's embarking on suing to avail herself of her First Amendment rights. Okay, with that said, everybody, we've done good. I'm looking into the backdrop here if I have any stuff that I wanted to. I had the FBI stuff. I'll do a standalone vlog on the FBI lying about crime stats, because I think everyone's heard that now. Bottom line, they lie to you. They lie to you. The employment, the jobs numbers were a lie. They revised them down after they get the good headlines. The crime stats were a filthy lie. They revise them up after they get the good headlines. They hate you. They lie to you. They think you're stupid. And if you vote for Kamala Harris, you're an idiot. Period. Serenity now. I shall change the things I cannot accept. All right, going over to locals for the after party. Everybody, thank you for being here. I'll see you tomorrow. And if I have the energy after this, I will put out that quick summary of how they've been lying to you. Have I forgotten anything? Let me just make sure I haven't forgotten anything. Go here. Breaking. Okay, we've done everything. We've done everything. We've done great, and that was fun. Thanks, Viva, says Norman Legend. Thank you very much, Norman. All right, if you're not coming over, vivabarneslaw.locals.com, no pressure. I'll see you tomorrow. But now we're taking the party over. It'll be supporters only because we're using studio. Here we come, peeps. Everybody, see you tomorrow. Peace.